So, round 3, our opponent won the die roll, but then put us on the play. And we've drawn this horrible hand that has turn 1 Thallid, and if we draw another land, we have an elf, and then if we draw another land, we have an octopus. But other than that, it really doesn't have anything of worth. So we throw that back, and we get a much better hand, which we keep, and get going. So we play a forest, our opponent plays a forest. Out comes Thallid. Out comes Blightspeaker. So this card I'm not actually that concerned about, because it really is only scary in a deck that has a lot of rebels in it. And the rebels were Lorwyn, I believe, like that was the thing, the set that they were in, and that isn't in the format. So I think I believe the only set in the format that actually has the rebels in it is Modern Masters, and you only get 1 pack of that. So I figure he can't have that many rebels for him to go looking for. So this is basically just a 1/1 for 2. With the tap, target player loses a life, it's essentially a 1/1 unblockable for 2, which I'm not scared of in the slightest. So I play out the looter that I just drew, pass the turn across. He plays out Bloodright Invoker, which is can get scary if he actually gets up to 8 mana, but until that happens, we're not worth worrying about, especially with the Thallid here. If he ever tries to attack with this before he gets to 8 mana, it's just a 3/1, and it will trade for a Sapling from the Shell Dweller. So, whatever. Activate the looter, get 4C, which seems pretty awesome. Throw away Echoing Truth because it seems not relevant against what he's got at the moment, and everything else in our hand is just more gas. Was really hoping to rip a land there, but Elf seems really reasonable. Tap this, looking for a land, don't get one, get a super expensive spell and throw it away. Yep, drain us, oh, not drains us, but nugs us for a life. Gets his 4th land, doesn't do anything. So we get our 4th land, and now we can cast the Ancient off the Elf. So now making the Saplings off this is cheaper, but more importantly, we just have a 4/4, which is just bigger than his stuff. And then here comes the bit that I wasn't expecting, which is when he activates Blightspeaker to actually go looking for a rebel. And he finds one in Future Sight. I didn't even know they were in Future Sight. It's a 2 mana 3/1. But fine, if that's all he has to look for, sure. I mean, he got a free 3/1. Like, that's still good. That's a free card, straight up. But a 3/1 is not super relevant on this board by a long shot. And then he has a 2/2 that says whenever a creature dies, he gets an Eldrazi Spawn, which is pretty good. And certainly plenty of his creatures could easily be dying, but I'm not too concerned about that. So I cast the 4C, hoping to draw something interesting, and I don't. I hit 3 lands and the Scutter. And the Scuttler seems relevant against what he has, so I keep that, throw all the lands to the bottom, but get a 4th land anyway. Try to loot away the land, get yet another land. But then attack with this Sporoloth Ancient, on the basis that, sure, you can kill it if he double blocks, but that'll be a 2/1, and our opponent knows that we've just seen like an additional 4 cards this turn, so it could very easily have a pump spell. But he has no fear. Double blocks, and the trade happens. We rip off the tokens from our Thallid Shield Dweller while they're still cheap, and then let the Sporoloth Ancient die. But then Sprout Swarm. For those unfamiliar with this card, 2 mana, put a 1/1 green sapling creature token onto the board. with Convoke and Buyback 3. What this actually says is, for the rest of the game, for 5 mana with Convoke, make a 1/1. Again and again and again and again and again. So he's just doing it now, since his creatures are about to die. He wants to use them for the Convoke. He gets a 1/1. Next turn he can untap. He'll have 5 mana, he'll make another 1/1. And then next turn he'll untap, he'll have 5 mana, make another 1/1. Then he'll have 5 creatures, he'll make another 1/1. And then the next turn he'll make another 1/1, another 1/1. Then eventually he'll be making 3 a turn, then 4 a turn, then 5 a turn, and he just... It's just so hard to win once that gets going. Oh, he also has these. I forgot about that. So yeah, next turn he gets to untap. He'll have 5 mana to make a 1/1, and then he'll have 6 creatures. He can tap 5 of those to make another 1/1. He can still attack. He can still tap this to make me lose life, and it just gets out of hand. Yeah, see, so you just. Because not only are you making... It's not just 5 mana make a dude, given that you have... As long as you have this card in your hand and you keep on recasting it. It's also... The dudes that you're making count as more mana to keep on making more dudes. So I drop my hand... But there's not many attacks that I can make that are good here. And he does the same Eco-Slick thing that we saw in a previous match, where you cycle this thing and you get to -3/-3 something and draw a card, which is pretty nice. And it kills our looter. So there goes our card advantage, or at least our card selection. You get Peel from Reality, which is pretty miserable at this point in the game. I attack with the Giant Octopus, hoping that maybe he tries to block it with 3 of his Saplings, since he's got basically as many of those as he ever wants, and then I can like Peel from Reality one of them. But he doesn't, he just blocks with the Invoker. I let that happen. And more Sprout Swarm. Really at this point I'm hoping to just draw a land so I can drop the Walker as a 7/7 and then start crashing in with it, and then you can chump block it with a Sapling every turn, but at least it slows how many Saplings he's able to make. Unfortunately that continues to not happen. So I'm pumping out guys as I draw them, but he's pumping out guys just non-stop. There's another one. There's another one. And then he plays this Amorous Seekers, which can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and white creatures. So it's not actual Intimidate, because Intimidate didn't exist yet. But it's basically Intimidate, except in white. So I peel the Ancient just on the basis that maybe I'll be able to actually make some attacks if that's off the board. I'm hoping to attack with the Monitor, trade it for some stuff, and then scavenge it. Which I obviously can't do if he has a 4/4, it would just be a sort of a chump attack. But he doesn't bite, he just lets it through. I mean, he's on 20, he doesn't need to do anything particularly fancy, he can take 3 damage. So I replay the Scudder, play out a Flyer. So now I'm just hoping vainly that this Flyer can do anything at all of relevance. And of course it can't. He has an Assassin Strike, which is going to kill the living airship and make me discard the Walker. And that's the point that I basically say, I've had enough, and I scoop up the game. And on to game 2. So once again, in sideboarding, I bring in the Deprive. Because even more so in the previous rounds, I really want to counter Sprout Swarm. Because if you counter it, they don't get it back, and then they can't keep on recasting it. And unlike a lot of the sort of spells that are really, really annoying for your opponent to have, even if they've cast Sprout Swarm a few times, if you draw the counter spell, it's still good. It's not like if they have like a giant creature, and if you draw the counter spell after they've cast the giant creature, it doesn't work anymore. With the Sprout Swarm, they need to keep on casting it. And that's the whole point of it, is they get to cast it a lot. So if you're able to counter it at any point, then it's gone. As for this opening hand, it has bounce spell, huge creature, which does not excite me in the slightest. Especially given what we've seen out of him, these bounce spells aren't particularly relevant. I mean, Echoing Truth can bounce a lot of Saprolinks, but it's not particularly useful in the early game. However, apparently I kept it. Here I am talking like I threw the hand away, but no, apparently I kept it. Oh, Valid can do some stuff. The thing is, Valid tries to make it a long game, but I don't particularly want a long game. He wants the long game. And he has the Blight Speaker again. And he has Emerald Seekers, which are another rebel, by the way. So luckily he cast them rather than searching them up with the Blight Speaker, so he didn't get that sort of extra card value. That's the card that he actually had to draw. So he's not getting the sort of Blight Speaker advantage. He still has that other rebel, the 1/3, so the 3/1 that he can search up. But now I have literally nothing that I can actually do against the Samurai Seekers, but I have literally nothing that I can actually do this turn of relevance. So I bounce that Seekers back to the top of his library, noting that he can't actually activate the Blight Speaker and pull it out of it, even though it's now in his library. He can't activate the Blight Speaker and pull it out because he doesn't have the mana. He won't have the mana until after his draw step, and after he's actually drawn it back out of his library again, so we don't have to worry about that. And this is basically me just trying to slow him down a little bit so that I can try to get my own aggression going. We get 4C, but instead we're just going to evoke this Walker, get some pressure going. He attacks us with the Seekers, and he plays a 2/5. So suddenly our 4/4 is completely irrelevant. So we play our 4C, hoping to get like a giant growth, and nothing of the sort. We have a flyer though, but this has reach. We have Appeal from Reality, and we have a land that we don't care about. So both the lands go on the bottom, and then I think we keep the Peel. Yeah, we keep the Peel on the Living Airship, but neither of them are particularly good. It's just that they're better than, random cards off the top. He makes the obvious block. No fear. And now we're still taking 3 damage every turn that we can't do anything about. 2 from the Arrow Seekers, 1 from the Blight Speaker. And we really need to find something that will let us put our own pressure back the other way. 4/1 with potential lure is scary. Basically, what I'm really hoping at this point is that if I play my Living Airship and try to get it, hope that he makes like an all-out attack with everything and lure on the Mortarpede, then I can bounce the Mortarpede and then double block this instead and kill it, and then maybe I'll be able to actually get through with some things. However, he has a Penumbra Spider as well, but he's mostly content to just keep on attacking with his Emerald Seekers and chipping us down for another 3 damage every turn and force us to actually do something. So I'm playing more guys but they're not actually that evasive given what he's got 2 reach creatures, and even if I kill a spider, the penumbra spider, he gets a 3rd. So I have my counterspell, but it's far too late for it to do anything, except here it is. Sprout Swarm, just in time. So I make the happiest play that I made today, which is countering this thing. But it's still too little too late, because he still has the Amber Seekers, and he still has the Blight Speaker, and he's still hitting me for 3 every turn. I get Cross to Monitor, which is continuing to gum up the board, which is exactly what our opponent wants. Our opponent is perfectly happy for the board to stay completely gummed up and with nothing attacking except for this one evasive creature that I can't deal with. So at this point I obviously have to bounce it, which is a bit awkward, because otherwise I'm just straight dead. It buys us another draw step, but there's precious little in our deck that's actually worth looking for. So I pull all the counters off the Thallid. I draw it just in case, because I figure this is probably going to be my last turn. And I play out all of my stuff. I figure this is probably going to be my last turn, so I pull all these tokens off on the basis that I may have to just attack with everything. But when I actually look at it, if I do attack with everything, this blocks something, this blocks something, this probably blocks something, and I get through for, let's see, this is blocked, this is blocked, this is blocked. I get through for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 damage. I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm not even presenting lethal. Like, if I take with everything, he could just not block at all and it'd survive. Even if this card in my hand was Giant Growth, it'd still survive. So, and he has some perfectly safe blocks to make. So I don't attack with everything. He hits us for 1 more with the Blight Speaker, and I'm thinking, okay, so if I peel from Reality the Amber Seekers, he makes the same attack as always, which is just the Amber Seekers, and I peel from Reality it, then I get another draw step. If he attacks with everything and lures the Mortarpede, then I'm dead. Because if I bounce the Mortarpede, I still can't block the Amber Seekers and I die to it. If I block the Amber Seekers, then everything has to block the Mortarpede and I die to these 2 things. But if he attacks with just the Seekers again, then I have another draw step, and he does attack with just the Seekers again. So I pay my mana, I cast my Peel. I'm bouncing the Sapperling instead of bouncing one of my actual creatures, which would seem a little bit odd at first, except I know that if I bounce one of my actual creatures and then I replay it next turn, even though I don't lose. Like, I bounce the Sapperling, it's gone forever. If I bounce one of my creatures, I can replay it next turn, but it has Summoning Sickness, so I can't attack with it. And if I don't win that turn, I'm not going to untap anyway, so it's essentially gone forever anyway. Like, it'll be unusable for the rest of the game regardless. So I may as well just bounce the Sapperling since it's just smaller and like doesn't present as much power. Our opponent plays Dark Hatchling and gets to destroy another creature. So yeah, at this point the game's pretty much over. I just have 1 more draw step to dig through. Our opponent replays the Amber Seekers, and I draw Island, which does not win me the game, much like pretty much everything else in my deck doesn't win me the game. So 2 and 1. Still in the realm of prizes, but I have to win the last round to actually get prizes. But 2 and 1 against losing against this absolutely ridiculous deck with, you know, Sprout Swarm and evasive guys, and his deck just seems really well put together. So I'm not sad about that in the slightest, and I'll go on to round 4.